I want to give you some encouragement, but also some realism, because there's a lot of people out there that want to get rich quick when it comes to starting a business. They see business owners and they think, man, they're making a ton of money. They don't realize how much work went into actually building to the point where they are in their life or in their career or in their business. Okay, that said, I also want to talk about the benefits of owning a business versus getting a W-2. I always say that getting a W-2 makes you a sucker. And it is true to an extent, and I'm sure there's people already down in the comments typing away, I work for a big corporation and I make good money and I don't have to worry about, okay, whatever. You know what? It doesn't matter. But there are many benefits to owning a business versus getting a W-2. Okay, that aside, I have to run and do this job really quickly in Somerset. It's a picture-only job. We have like 4 jobs that we're doing today. I'm going to be gone all day long. Been up since 6 a.m. Probably won't get home until about 7 or 8 p.m. That is one of the side effects of owning your own business. And that's why I kind of reiterate, make sure that whatever you're doing business-wise, or starting business-wise, should I say, that you enjoy it. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're going to burn out, you're going to hate it. You might as well just stay where you're at, you know what I mean? So, all right, let me run and do this real quick, and then we will pick up after that. All right, we are done with the first property. So, back to what I was saying. 7 years ago when I started this journey, this business, I didn't really know that it would become a business, but I kind of did know, like deep down inside, if you know what I mean. You just got that, you got that feeling, you just kind of know, you know, right? You know. So I started this journey back then. I got interested in photography. I started by just taking pictures with like a telephoto lens, like a 1500 to 3000 millimeter, I think was the focal length of that thing. I don't remember exactly, but I know you could zoom in on the moon with it and like get some spectacular shots of the moon. And then fast forward, so let's fast forward just a little bit. About a year or 2 later, I got my first drone. Now this was before I was a commercial drone pilot. And I got my first drone, started flying, crashed it, of course. But I still had the job, okay? So I bought another drone, crashed that drone. And then eventually the Mavics started coming out, if you know what I'm talking about, like the Mavic, the original Mavic 2s, and well, the Mavic 2s is where I started at. So the Mavic Pros were out and stuff like that, but the Mavic 2 is where I started. I started with a Mavic 2 Pro. I guess it was about 3 years or so into this journey. And then from there, I decided that I was looking for my exit. I was looking for my way out of my job where I was working. And I finally got up the courage to, and this plays back on what I was saying earlier with vlogging, or in my previous vlog, couple vlogs back, where I was talking about just do it. You know, rip the Band-Aid off, doesn't really matter. So I started my business. It was called something way different than it is now. I think back then it was Jonathan Ewing Photography, you know, because I was interested in photography. And then eventually it evolved into what it is now. But what I wound up doing was I set my date and quit like a couple of days before the date, because we wound up having like some trouble where I worked, and I couldn't, like, for some reason, like we wound up having some issues where the factory went down. I don't know exactly, but or I don't remember exactly, should I say. But anyway, from there I wound up quitting, and I knew that I had to have the availability to be able to meet with clients in order to, you know, actually do the job. I couldn't like do a physical, real job and try to do this on the side, if that makes sense. I wanted to dedicate my time to it, and that turns out to be the best decision I ever made. So if you're going to do it, make sure and dedicate 100% of your time to it, because your clients deserve that time. Anyway, I got to stop up here and get gas, and we will resume this story. All right, back to story time. Got gas. Good to go. Gas is expensive right now, though. It's like $3.50 a gallon over here in Kentucky. Anyway, so yeah, back to story time. Where was I? So I quit my job, walked away from that, and I knew I had to have the availability, like I said. So what I did was I became an Uber driver in Lexington, and I drove Uber for I guess it was about a year, which gave me like a little bit of a trial run for self-employment, and I got my first taste of tax write-offs. You know, we all know the tax benefits if you're on your own business. So got my first taste of tax write-offs, and went from there. Fast forward a little bit to COVID. I know it wasn't COVID, so I think it was COVID. So it was around COVID time. I had some time to spare because Uber was not doing very well. I had some savings, and I wound up becoming a commercial drone pilot. So I got my commercial license through the FAA, and started posting on social that I was a commercial drone pilot. If anybody needs work, hit me up. And fast forward a few months, nothing happened, but eventually I got a hit. And a guy that I had seen on Facebook that was already somewhat in my line of work, but I wasn't in videography. He was doing videography. Now, he wasn't specifically doing videography because he was in law school, but another one of the people that was working with him was doing videography, so I kind of had to learn it. It was a forced into, scenario. So I started working with him, partnered with him, and said, hey, yeah, I can do it under, Jonathan Ewing Photography. I was still self-employed at that time, didn't own the business or anything like that. And from, I think it was July of 2021. I think it was July of 21. That's what, 2020 or 2021, because I quit my job in May of 2020, so it was 2021. So I then had about 3 years roughly experience under my belt. I was already taking great photographs, already learned the editing process, was making videos with my drone, was learning the videography side of everything before my business partner contacted me and said, hey, I remember what it was. He saw a video of mine. I had made a video for a friend of mine that was a commercial drone pilot. And he saw that video and he's like, hey, can you do real estate? Like, have you ever thought about doing real estate? And I'm like, no, not really. And he's like, well, hey, just send me some samples and we'll go from there. And then, he's like, hey, yeah, here's your first job, blah, blah, blah. It was scary. So for the first year that I was in business on my own, no Uber whatsoever, I think I made $13,000. It wasn't a ton of money, but pretty good from July. That was 6 months. That was like, what, $13,000. That was about $2,000-ish, $1,500-ish, $1,800, something like that. I ain't got a calculator right in front of me, and I don't do math very well. But that's why we have calculators, right? So I did about $13,000 my first year, and then the second year I think I tripled that or doubled it. Let's see. Now I almost tripled it in the second year, doing the same work, and then other side stuff was starting to come in on my side of it. Still self-employed, and then from there. The third year, which would have been that would have been 2023 when I was in business, I started making more money. And I made even more money last year than I did. I doubled what I made the year prior, which is truly amazing. So if I keep holding the trend that I'm on, I should be on track for making a whole lot more money than I did before. I got a car following me and I have no idea what they're doing. Anyway, all right. So off on a little bit of a tangent there. But so fast forward, I'm where I'm at now, and then last year in October of 23, so October of last year, I finally LLC'd my business, finally made a corporation out of it, and or a company out of it, whatever you want to call it. It's all basically the same thing. It's basically a pass-through. So I finally did that, got it all legal. So on paper, it looks like I've been in business since October of last year, but I've been doing this, for about 7 years in total. The first, say, 2.5 years, 3 years or so was like this massive learning curve. And then from there, it just totally blew up and took off. And I've shot some amazing content for amazing clients, not just for real estate, but we've done all kinds of different projects. Now, my passion now is not photography so much, it's more videography. And that's how I base my company, is off of video production. We call it media production, but it's still video production either way. And the goal with the business is not necessarily to make videos for clients, but to solve problems for clients. And that's the way you have to look at business, is to solve those problems for clients. So if you can solve a problem, you can make money in any line of work. It doesn't really matter if it's video production, if it's selling toy elephants, on Etsy. It doesn't really matter. So let's talk a little bit about a W-2 or an employee of a business versus a business like what I'm doing. Okay, so let's start with W-2. If you have a W-2 and you work for, let's just make up a business here, let's say Dollar General. You work for Dollar General, you exchange your time for money, and they give you a W-2 for how much money you make. They pay you. However, if you do everything like a normal person, you're going to sign up to have your federal taxes taken out automatically and your state taxes taken out automatically, as well as any kind of 401k or any other contributions like that. So they tax you and then give you what's left. You get what's left out of that. And then 12 calendar months later, you pay the government more or less, depending on how much money you paid to the federal government. If you paid in, a certain amount, and you may still wind up owing a couple $100. And some people, if you're single, you still get tax benefits and you can actually get a refund. Okay. That said, let's talk about owning a business. So let's pretend that I own the same Dollar General store. I own the Dollar General, and the Dollar General makes $2,000 a month. We know they make way more than that, but they make $2,000 a month. Dollar General is bringing in $2,000 a month and is spending $1,000 a month. That now means that the Dollar General is only liable to pay taxes on $1,000, not $2,000. They get to spend their money first and then get the tax write-off at the end of the year. And it works that way. Let's say they spend $1,500 and they only make $500 that month, and they only have to pay taxes on $500. So the difference is if you make, say, $100,000 and you have $50,000 in tax write-offs, you then pay on $50,000 total in taxes to the federal government. If you're a W-2 and you make, say, the same $100,000, they pre-tax, take out all of your stuff, before you get any of it. So if you make $100,000 a year, you don't actually make $100,000 a year. You wind up actually making way less money, and that means you have less money to spend. But as a business owner, you can spend the money, write it off on your taxes, to a certain extent, and then pay the taxes, you see. So it's way better to own a business and have tax write-offs than it is to work as a W-2. Most people already know this probably, but I just want to give you that little bit of insight in case you're somebody that is thinking of starting a business or potentially is looking to bail on their job and go down the rabbit hole, so to speak. I work a whole lot more than I've ever worked in my entire life. I work most days like anywhere between 14 and 16 hours a day. That doesn't necessarily mean all out there in the world working, but I am out there working. Most of the time my job consists of going out, grabbing content. I don't have to edit it, which is great. I do edit some stuff, but it's mostly reels for clients that are related to my business partner. But basically, I go out, grab the stuff, send it off to him, but I still work a lot. And then when I have projects on my side of the business, I go do those projects, set a scheduled, time to have everything returned back to them, and then work on those. Let's say I get home at 5 o'clock, and then my son and my wife usually go to bed around like 9 o'clock. So from like 9 to 11 midnight, something like that, in that little span of time there, I usually wind up doing my personal editing at that time, or if I have a day when I'm not doing anything with real estate or that side of the things. But yeah, let me know down in the comments, what do you think? Should you work for a W-2 or own your own business? And I hope this information was helpful to somebody. I'm sure it is. If this is something that you thought about doing, or if you're, kind of on the fence, maybe it'll help you just hop to one side or the other. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. And don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us and keep up with us, all that great stuff. Now, I do have let's see, 3 more jobs today. I'm going to be out, like I said, late. I think I mentioned that earlier. I'm going to be out late tonight getting that done. And then tomorrow should be a somewhat easier day. And then I won't do anything on Saturday. That's usually my family day. I spend time with my family. We go shopping. We get groceries. We usually go out to eat. That's kind of like my one day of skipping this diet. And I am telling you, like, on a side note here, this diet is so far treating me very well. I went from 208 pounds to 100. I named or weighed myself this morning. I'm at 194. Yeah, 194 pounds. So in 2 weeks, most of that was probably like, cleaning out and stuff like that. So I don't have all that build-up sludge, I guess, which is kind of gross. But either way, we're all human here, so we understand. So I've probably lost around like 5-ish pounds, maybe 6-ish pounds in between there. And my goal is to get myself back down to like my weight that I was at when I got married, which was right around like 175, something like that. So I've got about another 25-ish pounds to lose to get down to that level. But I can already tell a big difference. Cleared up my head. I'm not drowsy. I don't dread like it used to when I would wake up in the morning. I was feeling like almost hungover, but I don't drink, and I haven't drank in like a long time, 4 years at least, and I used to wake up feeling just like trash, and usually by lunchtime I would start to feel better, and I always wondered why that was, and I kept trying to figure it out. And what it was is I was eating at nighttime, and that nighttime was just sitting with me, and you know what I mean? Like it was clouding my judgment, clouding my mind. So I got a lot more clarity here lately, which is great, and I have had a few little steps where I've a few little times where I've like eat sugar, but it's like very, very rare. I let my body do all the processing. That way your pancreas can make your sugar that your body needs. Your body does a really good job of making its own sugar and stabilizing your blood and stuff like that. That's why a lot of times you drink or eat sugar and you get that good feeling and then it goes back down. Well, if you can stabilize it, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to stabilize my metabolism and stabilize my blood sugar and all that. Like all day long, all I drink is coffee, and that's just because I think I'm addicted to coffee. It's kind of a bad thing, but I guess if I have one thing that I'm addicted to, I guess that's not horrible. I'll take that. Okay, yeah, let me know, what do you guys think about this information? If it's something that you would like to explore, and I'm going to run around and grab these last few jobs, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.